Hey, everybody. Great. Well, I wanted to talk just for a minute. By the way, I'm Marcus with marcusblanketship.com. You probably know that. Somebody, Alex, I believe, actually asked me a question about selling Agile services and projects, or even to your manager, because Agile involves a tremendous amount of unknown. And so I wanted to take just a minute to talk through the only approach I have found yet. I'm sure it is not the only approach, but this is the approach that I found when I owned my consultancy and when I continue to do project work now that really is honest about Agile. Too many people, I believe, too many people, for example, give estimates, but that are listened to and heard as actual promises. So, for example, the problem I'm trying to solve is that I can't tell you the number of times I would give a client an estimate, and I would say estimate. Now, in my head, the word estimate meant that I don't actually know. This is my best guess, and it would be an estimate. But the longer the estimate, whether it had stories or phases or milestones or things broken out, the longer the estimate, and sometimes the more it actually appeared to the client to be a promise. I suppose in reality, whether I said I estimate that at 10 hours or I gave them a long document that said I estimate this at 1,007 hours, either way, it sounds an awful lot like a promise. And so if you are frustrated that your clients or your boss are constantly pushing back on you, that they want you to hit your estimates. This is a phrase I heard all the time, that they don't want to pay for any money after the estimates, that they're going to be upset about that you haven't achieved the estimates. This video is for you. Okay, so I'd like you to tell you a story. And this is imagine this. And this is a story I used to tell my clients. Imagine, Mr. Client or Mrs. Client, not to be sexist, imagine that you are hiring someone to help you find the fountain of youth. Now, the fountain of youth is a mythical, amazing fountain that anyone who drinks from the water of the fountain of youth lives forever. It's a very old tale. It goes back hundreds or thousands of years. The fountain of youth, something that is highly valuable and with an outcome that is amazing. So imagine that you have decided that you want to drink the water of the fountain of youth. So you endeavor to go about it. Now, you don't know where the fountain of youth is. This is one of the tricks. No one knows where the fountain of youth is. But if you look in your history books, you'll find that the rumors of the fountain of youth are that they are somewhere in the jungles of Central or South America. So imagine that this is your goal. You have this much information. You know that the fountain of youth is in the jungles of Central or South America. Now, you then decide to undertake to find it. What is one of the first things you decide to do? Well, you're going to hire a guide, right? You're going to hire a guide because you can't just say to the guide, you can't just say to someone, go get it, because they'll just stumble on it, drink the water, and they'll live forever. No, you must be taken to the fountain of youth for you to drink the water directly from the fountain such that you live forever. Okay? So let's think about some of our first steps. Would you hire a guide that knew how to navigate the desert? Or would you hire a guide that knew how to navigate the Arctic? Or one that knew how to navigate the high seas? Well, of course, you're saying, Marcus, no, you would hire a guide that knew how to navigate in the jungle. And when you talk to various jungle guides, you might say, I'd like to see what kind of equipment do you have? And if they pull out snow skis and a sled, and they say, well, I have all these dogs. I'm a jungle guide, but I know how to, I mostly have a lot of stuff for every climate, or like I have stuff for, yes, I can do the Arctic too. You probably stay away from that person because you say, it's very important that I specialize and that I find someone who knows the jungle. This is the terrain. And it probably, so the reason this story is really valuable. Now, you would evaluate them on their experience were in the jungle. You would say, how many expeditions have you led? Show me your equipment. What kind of staff? Does your staff know as much about the jungle as you do? The whole thing here is you're trying to evaluate their expertise in the jungle, especially not even the jungles of Africa or Asia, the jungles of South and Central America, because that's where you understand the treasure to be. But if you were to ask one of those jungle guides, can you guarantee me how long it will take to find the fountain of youth? My guess is they would all say no. We don't know how long it will take. We don't know how many weeks or months. We don't know if we can do it at all. After all, no one has found this. No one has ever found it and put it on a map. There is no direct path to where you want to go. We will have to do a bit of wandering, looking through literature at what other people have done. We'll have to evaluate where we've been before. We'll have to pack appropriately. We'll have to know how long we can go out before we have to come back for more supplies. We'll have to make sure we have the right kind of weapons for the natives, or maybe possibly for the animals. We have to know what kind of food there is, so we'll have to bring the kind of equipment necessary to eat along the way. We'll have to make sure we have water, because water in the jungle is a very different problem than water in the Arctic, so the way we think about it is different. But at the end of the day, we would be fools to promise you that we can get you to someplace that no one has ever found, or that we can even tell you exactly how long it was going to take. Okay, I think this is very similar to how you should talk about your projects. The guide who you're talking to, who refuses to give a time or a cost or even an assurance that you can get there, does that because he prefaces everything with, no one has ever found the fountain of youth. It is not that no one has looked, but no one has found it. So there is an enormous amount of uncertainty as we begin. Now, the more places we go in Central America, the more places we can check off of a list. So certainty will grow. And in theory, if we had a whole lifetime and an army of people, maybe we could look every inch of South America or Central America. Probably not. So we have to be smart and strategic, because we are trying to solve a problem and get to a destination that no one has ever gone to. And of course, it's not hypothetical, because you, the person who wants to find the fountain of youth, need to come with us. You're going to partner. Yes, you are bringing money, but you're also bringing your own body, putting it at risk. You have a tremendous amount invested. And selling an agile software project, selling any software project, is exactly the same. That you're building custom software because what you want doesn't exist for sale today. At least you haven't found it. And let's be honest, if you could find it, you should just go buy it. But because you're talking with a custom software vendor, it is ridiculous to imagine that you could just go buy something off the shelf. You don't need Microsoft Word. You need something unique for your business, something that connects your systems together and achieves your outcomes. And in the same way, you probably know if it's more like an Arctic or a high seas expedition or a jungle expedition. And so as you talk and look at vendors, it's not about finding one who will promise you, yes, I guarantee we can get there in 4 weeks. Because anybody who says that is foolish and probably a liar and wants you to give them money. And so there's this ulterior motive, because they are not being truthful. And so when we sell agile projects, we recognize that there's unknowns. We recognize that there's truth about the unknowns, that no one has ever achieved this before. And we say it is actually less important that I give you an estimate that you can live with than it is you decide you can trust me as your jungle guide, that you want to go on this adventure with me. And then we talk about things iteratively, that first we will go explore Nicaragua. And then when we have been there a month and we have done all we can do, we must return back for supplies. And then we will iteratively go we will go explore the next country over or the next region over. That we'll do this iteratively. Our approach is very important, because we are trying to mitigate the unknown. So when your clients push back on you and they say, I can only go with a software vendor that can promise me a fixed scope and a fixed time, and that must say we are guaranteed this outcome. Unless you have solved that problem before, which you haven't, unless you are so sure that you can do this in that way, and you shouldn't be, and I'm trying to talk you out of being assured, the best you can say is to promise that you will apply all of your expertise, all of your skill, all of your best intentions, all of your best people, and all of your vast equipment to solving their problem. And if they do want to guarantee that, probably what you have to do is say, I can guarantee that for 100 times what my initial estimate is, right? That would be the only number I could stand behind from a guaranteed perspective. So I think this metaphor of is really useful. I know it's not going to match everybody. My friend Jonathan Stark would like to hit me in the head with a hammer because he's a fixed price hourly billing kind of value pricing. Sorry, not hourly billing, value pricing. I'm not even suggesting hourly billing. What I am suggesting is that you come up with a way that allows the client to invest money, go on an expedition without actually guaranteeing they will accomplish the goal, but that they will be smarter, they will have explored something, they will know more about the problem, and that the cone of uncertainty is going to get reduced over time. Unless you have built it before, or something that is so close to it that is effectively just picking software off the shelf and just doing it, I would say that framing it as the way of really emphasizing unknowns are the way I would think about it. So anyway, that idea of the jungle guide was useful to me in the past, and it helped my clients understand that we were sharing the burden of risk together. Hope this is useful. I'm Marcus at marcusblankenship.com. Thanks.